Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Jessica Kringle. Of course, most of you know me as Mrs. Claus, and we have been counting down the days until Christmas by doing a different one of my family's recipes for sweets and treats around Christmas time each and every day of this month of December. And so let's go ahead and go to our Advent calendar and find out what it is we get to cook for today, which is December 17th. Oh, this one is as fun to say as it is to eat and to make. This one is called Pfeffernusse, and it is a wonderfully spicy little cookie with lots and lots of spices in it, and I'm going to teach you how to make those just as soon as I wash my hands and get out our ingredients. Now remember, if you would like to get a printable download of our little recipe cards, you can go to www.crafterscountdown.com and you'll find those there. All right, I'll be with you in just a few minutes. So I've washed my hands and gotten our ingredients out. Now, this Pfeffernusse takes a tremendous amount of flour. We are going to have lots and lots and lots of these spicy little cookies, so hopefully you like them as much as I do. So first we're going to mix all of our dry ingredients together. Now, I said these were spicy little cookies. I went ahead and put all of our spices together. So in here we have cinnamon and allspice, nutmeg, and clove. Those are some of the regular spices you'd expect to see in cookies. But now we're going to add some savory spices, cardamom and black pepper, and a little bit of mace as well. This is why these are such yummy, spicy little cookies. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. And then we will put in also our salt and our baking powder. So to mix this up, and then we're going to set this aside so that we can work with the eggs. Okay, we're going to beat our eggs until fluffy, so they need to be all by themselves. Now, again, if you have one of these fancy mixers, great. If you don't, you've got your Braun, or you can do a handheld beater. And then, as usual, we are going to crack these into a different container just to make sure that we don't add any shells to our mix there. All right, and I will do all 5 of these. All right, and there's our last one. We have all 5 of those in there. And now we're going to put these in the mixer and beat them until they're fluffy. These are nice and fluffy. You can see even some of the foam sticking to here. Now we need to take our sugar and add it slowly as we continue mixing this. So, put that back on. Remember in the fruit cake on day 1, we alternately added ingredients, a little of this, a little of that. Well, we're going to do that technique again today. So we have this little teeny bit of coffee and this great big tub of our dry ingredients, and we're going to alternately pour a little bit of this and a little bit of that in there so that we can continue getting that mixed. It's nice and thick. Now, I know that the instructions say to use a rubber spatula. That's what my family's recipe instructions say. This is too thick and pasty for my rubber spatula to work in it, so I'm going to have to go ahead and use a metal utensil to do that. But the next thing we need is some zest or rind from a lemon. So I've picked one of these off the trees. It's one of my favorite times of year when the Meyer lemon tree that Santa planted for me is producing for us. So this is a zester. You could also use the small end of your cheese grater if you needed to. I do have a zester that makes wonderful little strings, a little small handheld thing, but this one grates it up nice and fine for you. You know, I keep saying, oh, I love that smell, I love that smell. I do love the smell of lemon. And you know, every morning I start my day with a glass of lemon juice squeezed into a large glass of water. Helps keep you healthy to do that. Both the hydration and the vitamins in there. All right, doesn't call for the whole lemon. It calls for 1 teaspoon. So let's see how much we've got here. Oh yeah, more than 1 teaspoon there. Clear some of that out. Of course, you can't have too much lemon peel, can you? All right. So we will put that in. If you remember on December 10th, I showed you how to blanch almonds. And so this recipe also calls for blanched almonds. So it's the 3rd time we're seeing this. These need to be finely chopped, sort of like the Russian tea cakes. You don't want a lot of huge chunks in there. So I went ahead and did that in the electric food processor and didn't use the little hand chopper thing. So I've got those really small, and now I need to mix this in by hand. And you know, if you can't get your utensil to work for you because it's so thick, don't worry about getting your hands in there. They wash, and you washed them before you got started, right? Just like I taught you. So don't worry about using a little hand mixing if you need to as well. And it's good for your muscles. We're going to be so fit by Christmas. Of course, not if we keep eating all of these sweets, huh? Right, this is all blended. Now what we need to do is cover this and put it in the refrigerator for 2 hours so that it's nice and cold when we go to form it into balls. I'm going to get this in the fridge, and I'll be back with you in just a bit. All right, we've got this nice and firm in the refrigerator. It's nice and cold. So now what we need to do is, first let's preheat our oven to 300 degrees. We need to go ahead and grease our cookie sheet. So again, I put a little bit of the shortening on a paper towel. And then we will reach in and take a pinch and make about 1-inch balls from these. Now, these aren't as crumbly as some of the other cookies, so it is okay to roll those in your hands instead of just pinching them. And then also, because they don't flatten out the way that some of our cookies do, it's okay to put them just about 1 inch apart on the tray here, because they aren't going to spread and run into each other. So give me just a moment and I will get our tray filled up, and then we will get this put into the oven. And one more before we get to put these into the oven. I love all the spices in here. It smells so good. It would make a lovely tea. Of course, these are really yummy with tea. I like my tea. All right. And there we go. And I'm going to put these in the oven for 18 minutes. Just like the Russian tea cakes, we want them to not be turning brown, just to firm up a little bit more. All right, be right back with you. Oh, our Pfeffernusse is ready. Let me go double check. Oh no, they look perfect. Could probably just roll these off of here, huh? But then they might continue through the counter. Ooh, that one has a little crack in it, so that gets to be mine. Oh, these smell so wonderful. So they're nice and firm. And then while these are warm, we need to go ahead and roll them in some confectioner's sugar. Being careful not to burn your fingers because they are quite warm. This would be a little bit easier if this were just a little bit deeper with the confectioner's sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and get just a little bit more in here so that can make sure that they're easier to roll. I'll be right back.
I'm going to take two.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and roll up the rest of the dough and finish these up. Come back tomorrow and we'll see what we have to cook up from our Advent calendar as we count down our last week until Christmas. Isn't this exciting? All right, and thanks so much for joining me. Bye-bye.